Aaron wiped the dust from an old, leather-bound book and stared at the faded letters. The library was quiet except for the soft sound of pages turning. Sunlight filtered through high windows, casting long shadows across the stone floor. Aaron had spent years studying ancient civilizations, but this library held something special. Hidden among the ordinary texts was a map, folded carefully between two pages. He unfolded it slowly, his eyes widening. The map showed the deserts of Egypt, but it was unlike any map he had seen before. Strange symbols marked certain locations, and in the center, a golden sunburst indicated something important. Next to it was a short note, written in a language he could barely understand. After hours of careful study, he realized it was a message from the past, a clue to Pharaoh Senet's golden mask. According to legend, the mask was not only beautiful but contained technology far beyond human knowledge. Aaron knew he could not do this alone. He reached for his communicator and called Zara, an engineer he trusted. Zara was smart, brave, and had a way of solving problems that no one else could. She arrived quickly, her eyes lighting up when Aaron showed her the map. "This is amazing," she said, tracing a finger over the markings. "If this is real, it could change everything we know about ancient civilizations." "I think it is real," Aaron replied. "But it won't be easy. The map leads to the heart of the desert. We will face sandstorms, heat, and dangers that have kept this place hidden for thousands of years. And I have a feeling we are not the only ones looking for these relics." Zara nodded, her expression serious. "Then we need a team. Someone who knows history, someone who can read these symbols, and someone who can navigate this terrain." Aaron smiled and suggested Tarek, a historian who had worked with him on previous digs. Tarek arrived the next day, carrying a worn notebook full of notes and sketches. He studied the map carefully, his eyes scanning the strange symbols. "These markings are not just decorative," Tarek said. "They are directions. They tell us where to go and what to avoid. Whoever made this map wanted only the worthy to find the mask." The three of them packed supplies for the journey: water, food, climbing tools, and devices for communication and measurement. Each item was carefully checked, knowing that the desert was unforgiving. As they prepared to leave, Aaron felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. This expedition could be the greatest discovery of their lives, or it could end in failure. They arrived at the edge of the desert early the next morning. The sand stretched for miles, golden waves under the rising sun. The air was hot and dry, and the wind carried fine grains that stung their skin. Aaron, Zara, and Tarek set off, following the map's instructions. The first few days were not easy. Sandstorms forced them to take shelter, and the scorching heat drained their energy. At night, the temperature dropped sharply, making them shiver under their thin blankets. But despite the hardships, they pressed on. Each night, they studied the map by lantern light, tracing the route and planning their next move. One evening, as the sun set in brilliant shades of red and orange, Aaron noticed something strange. A pattern in the sand appeared, almost like tracks, but too perfect to be natural. He called Zara and Tarek over. "These are not animal tracks," he said. "Someone or something has been here recently." Zara knelt down, examining the pattern carefully. "Could it be other humans?" she asked. "Maybe," Tarek replied. "But the markings are unusual. They could be a warning, left by those who built the tomb. Or, something else is watching us." The idea made them uneasy, but they did not stop. They knew they were close to something important. That night, they camped under the stars, the desert stretching endlessly around them. The sky was clear, filled with countless shining stars. Aaron could not help but feel a connection to the people who had created the map, and to Pharaoh Senet, whose mask might still hold secrets waiting to be discovered. The next morning, the team woke to a windless, calm desert. They continued following the map, climbing small dunes and crossing rocky terrain. Each step brought them closer to the first clue of the hidden tomb. As they reached a small hill, Aaron's heart raced. He saw the outline of a structure buried under sand, half hidden but unmistakable. "This is it," he whispered. "The beginning of our journey. The tomb is here, waiting for us." Zara smiled, holding her tools tightly. "Then let's find out what secrets it holds." Tarek looked around cautiously. "We must also be careful. Whoever or whatever protected this place may still be watching. This is only the start." With determination in their eyes, the three of them approached the tomb. The desert sun rose higher, casting golden light over the sands. Aaron felt a thrill of anticipation. Their adventure had truly begun, and the mysteries of Pharaoh Senet's golden mask were about to unfold. The hidden tomb lay half buried under the shifting desert sands. Aaron, Zara, and Tarek stood at its entrance, shielding their eyes from the harsh sunlight. The stone doorway was covered in strange carvings, glowing faintly as if waiting for someone to arrive. Aaron's heart raced. He knew that inside, secrets of Pharaoh Senet were waiting, secrets that had remained hidden for thousands of years. Zara examined the carvings carefully. "These symbols are unusual," she said. "They look like instructions or warnings. We should be careful with every step we take." Tarek nodded, brushing sand off his notebook. "These markings are a mix of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs and something more advanced. Whoever built this tomb had knowledge far beyond their time. We need to pay close attention. One wrong step could trigger traps or puzzles." The team took a deep breath and entered the tomb. The air inside was cool and dry, a stark contrast to the desert heat. Shadows danced on the walls, and the faint sound of dripping water echoed through the corridor. Aaron led the way, his eyes scanning every surface. The first chamber was filled with sand and broken pottery. Aaron and Tarek carefully moved aside debris to reveal a mosaic on the floor. It depicted Pharaoh Senet holding a golden mask while standing before a strange glowing orb. The orb seemed almost alive, pulsating with light as if it contained energy. "This is incredible," Aaron whispered. "The mask was more than a symbol. It may have had power we cannot even imagine." Zara examined a small device she had brought with her. "We need to check for traps. Some of these chambers may be protected by mechanisms. It looks like there is pressure on the floor." She marked safe paths and led the team forward, step by step. As they went deeper into the tomb, they found walls covered in strange symbols. Tarek studied them closely. "These symbols tell a story. They describe the journey of Pharaoh Senet and his search for knowledge. But there is also a warning: only those who are worthy may claim the mask and the relics." The corridor narrowed and turned sharply, leading to a large chamber. A golden light glimmered in the distance. Aaron's heart pounded as he approached. At the center of the room, partially buried in sand, was a pedestal. On it lay the golden mask, shimmering as if it had been waiting for them. Before they could move closer, a sudden sound echoed through the chamber. Dust rose from the floor, and strange lights appeared on the walls. The team froze. They were not alone. From the shadows, figures emerged. They were tall, with glowing eyes and smooth metallic skin. Aaron realized with shock that these were aliens. They had been guarding the tomb for centuries, watching anyone who dared approach. The aliens spoke in a low, resonant language that vibrated through the walls. Zara whispered, "We must stay calm. We do not know if they are hostile yet." Aaron stepped forward slowly, holding his hands up. "We mean no harm," he said. "We are explorers seeking knowledge. We wish to understand the mask and the relics. We do not intend to steal them or cause damage." One of the aliens moved closer, its glowing eyes studying the humans. Then it nodded, as if understanding Aaron's words. Another alien appeared and gestured to a doorway deeper inside the tomb. The team hesitated, then followed, keeping their movements slow and careful. The new chamber was unlike anything they had seen. Strange machines hummed softly, and walls glowed with flowing energy. The aliens seemed to guide them toward a series of puzzles. Each puzzle tested a different skill, logic, courage, and understanding. Aaron stepped forward first. A glowing panel lit up in front of him, showing shifting symbols. He traced patterns carefully, remembering the clues from the hieroglyphs. Slowly, the panel clicked into place. A door opened, revealing another room. Zara faced the next challenge. A device needed precise adjustments to align beams of light across the chamber. She worked carefully, using her engineering skills. The beams glowed brightly when correct, unlocking a hidden passage. Tarek approached the final puzzle. A series of moral questions appeared, asking him to choose between power, wisdom, and responsibility. He thought carefully, considering what Pharaoh Senate would have wanted. Finally, he made his choice, and the room filled with golden light. The aliens stepped back, allowing the humans to approach the golden mask. Aaron held it in his hands, feeling a warm energy flow through him. It was as if the mask recognized their intentions and approved of their courage and intelligence. Zara and Tarek joined him, their eyes wide with wonder. The mask was beautiful, adorned with intricate designs and gemstones that shimmered with an inner light. It was more than a relic. It was a key to knowledge, a connection to the advanced civilization that had existed long before humans understood the stars. The team realized that this was only the beginning. The tomb contained more than just the mask. It held other relics, waiting to be discovered and understood. And outside, in the desert, unknown forces were still watching, testing humanity's readiness to claim its place among the stars. As they prepared to explore further, Aaron looked at his friends. "We have found something incredible," he said. "But we must be careful. This journey will test us in ways we cannot imagine. The desert and the tomb have more secrets, and we must be ready for whatever comes next." With determination, the team moved deeper into the tomb, ready to face the trials ahead and unlock the full power of Pharaoh Senet's legate. The deeper they went into the tomb, the more the walls glowed with a soft, golden light. Aaron, Zara, and Tarek moved cautiously, their footsteps echoing in the quiet corridors. Strange symbols appeared on the walls, showing stories of Pharaoh Senet and the relics he had hidden. Each symbol seemed to pulse with energy, reminding the team that they were not just exploring a tomb, they were entering a place of great power. Suddenly, the air around them shifted. A low hum filled the chamber, vibrating through the floor and walls. The team froze. From the shadows, tall figures emerged. Their skin shimmered with metallic patterns, and their eyes glowed like small suns. These were the aliens who had been guarding the tomb for centuries. Aaron stepped forward slowly, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. "We do not wish to fight," he said. "We are explorers. We seek knowledge, not war. We want to understand the mask and the relics, and we will respect your rules." One of the aliens moved closer, its movements smooth and deliberate. It studied the humans with glowing eyes that seemed to look into their thoughts. Another alien appeared, pointing toward a doorway that led to a larger chamber. The gesture was clear, they were being allowed to proceed, but carefully. Zara whispered, "They are testing us. We must show we are careful and respectful. One mistake could make them stop us." The team nodded and followed the aliens through the doorway. The next chamber was unlike anything they had seen. Strange devices lined the walls, glowing with energy that seemed alive. Holographic symbols floated in the air, shifting and moving as if telling a story. The aliens guided them toward a series of trials, each one different and designed to test human skill, intelligence, and character. Aaron approached the first trial. A platform lit up before him, showing a maze of shifting light. He needed to find the correct path using only his understanding of the symbols he had studied. The walls of the maze moved slightly as he stepped carefully, forcing him to think quickly and adjust his strategy. After several tense minutes, he reached the center, where a small golden orb awaited. The orb floated in midair and then moved aside, revealing a hidden door. Zara faced her trial next. A complex device with beams of light blocked her path. The beams shifted and changed with every movement. She studied the mechanism and quickly realized she could redirect the beams by adjusting the mirrors along the walls. Her hands worked skillfully, aligning the beams until a pattern of light formed a key shape on the floor. The device clicked, and a passage opened, allowing her to continue. Tarek approached the final trial. A series of floating panels appeared in front of him, each showing a choice. Some panels suggested using power selfishly, others encouraged wisdom or sacrifice. Tarek studied the panels carefully, thinking about what Pharaoh's Senate would have valued. He chose the path that favored knowledge and responsibility, and the panels glowed brightly, confirming his decision. The aliens watched silently, their glowing eyes reflecting both curiosity and approval. Slowly, they moved aside, allowing the humans to enter the chamber that contained the golden mask. The mask rested on a pedestal, its surface shining as if it held sunlight within. The team approached carefully, feeling the energy radiating from it. Aaron reached out and touched the mask. A warm sensation spread through his hands and arms. He could feel knowledge flowing into him, visions of distant stars, advanced technology, and the wisdom of past civilizations. Zara and Tarek joined him, feeling the same energy and understanding that the mask was more than a relic. It was a link to something greater, a legacy meant to guide humanity toward new discoveries. Suddenly, a new sound echoed through the chamber. From the shadows, more alien figures appeared. These were not the same guardians they had met before. Their presence was tense, almost threatening. The team realized that other forces were interested in the relics, forces that might not be willing to share knowledge or respect the rules. Aaron quickly stepped back, holding the mask carefully. "We do not want conflict," he said firmly. "We only wish to learn. If you allow us, we will leave without taking anything that should not be shared." The new aliens paused, and after a tense moment, one of them gestured toward the exit. The team understood they had been given a chance to escape with what they had learned, but they needed to move quickly before more dangerous forces arrived. Zara checked their equipment, making sure everything was ready. Tarek studied the symbols along the walls, noting clues for future exploration. Aaron held the mask and felt the responsibility that came with it. They had been tested, and they had passed. But the journey was far from over. As they moved toward the exit, Aaron looked back at the glowing walls. The tomb held many more secrets, and the relics were only a part of a larger story. One day, humanity might understand all of it. For now, they had survived the trials, earned the mask, and gained knowledge that could change their future. Stepping out into the desert sunlight, the team felt a mixture of relief and anticipation. The desert stretched endlessly around them, golden and quiet, but they knew other eyes were watching. Aliens, explorers, and hidden forces all had interest in Pharaoh's Senate's legacy. Aaron, Zara, and Tarek were ready. They had faced the first challenge, but greater adventures lay ahead. With determination, they set up camp for the night. The stars above seemed brighter than ever, reflecting the energy they had felt in the tomb. Aaron looked at his friends. "We have learned much," he said. "And we are ready for whatever comes next. The tomb has tested us, and we have proven ourselves. The journey continues, and the secrets of the relics are waiting to be discovered." The desert wind whispered around their camp, carrying the promise of new challenges and the call of unknown worlds. The humans had taken the first step, but the adventure of Pharaoh Senate's golden mask was only beginning. The desert night was calm, and the stars above seemed to shine brighter than ever. Aaron, Zara, and Tarek sat around their small campfire, the golden mask safely packed in a special case. The team could feel the weight of responsibility that came with their discovery. They had passed the first trial, but the relics still held mysteries that needed to be understood. "This mask is incredible," Zara said, her eyes reflecting the firelight. The energy we felt in the tomb, it is more than anything humans have seen before. If we study it carefully, it could teach us so much. Aaron nodded, staring into the flames. Yes, but we also need to be careful. We have passed the Guardian's test, but there may be other trials ahead. The tomb is only the beginning. I can feel that the relics are part of something much larger. Tarek leaned back, looking at the stars. I think Pharaoh Senate wanted someone to prove themselves before accessing these relics. That trial was not just about skill. It was about courage, wisdom, and how we choose to use knowledge. The next morning, the team continued deeper into the desert. The map led them to a valley surrounded by rocky cliffs. Strange symbols were carved into the rocks, glowing faintly in the sunlight. Aaron studied them carefully, tracing patterns with his finger. These markings are guiding us to the next relic, he said. We must follow them exactly. As they entered the valley, a low hum filled the air. The ground beneath their feet vibrated slightly. From the shadows, alien figures appeared again, but this time they did not block the path. Instead, they gestured toward a hidden entrance in the cliffs. The team understood that this was the next challenge, another trial to prove humanity's readiness. The entrance led to a large chamber filled with glowing devices and floating panels. Symbols shifted in the air, creating puzzles that required intelligence, precision, and teamwork. Aaron stepped forward first, studying a panel that displayed a shifting maze of light. He carefully traced the correct path, using clues from the tomb and his knowledge of the map. The maze shifted around him, but he stayed focused, reaching the center where a small glowing orb floated. Zara faced a complex device next. Beams of light crisscrossed the room, and she needed to align mirrors and lenses to form a specific pattern. She worked quickly and skillfully, adjusting the angles until the light created a symbol that opened a hidden passage. Her hands moved confidently, guided by experience and intuition. Tarek approached the final panel, which asked questions that tested his character. Each choice influenced the chamber in subtle ways. He considered the consequences carefully, choosing paths that valued wisdom, courage, and responsibility. The panels glowed, confirming his decisions, and a door opened to a central chamber. Inside, the team saw the next relic, a small, glowing device shaped like a sphere. It hovered in the center of the room, radiating energy. The aliens watched silently, allowing the humans to approach. Aaron reached out and touched the sphere. Instantly, visions filled his mind, distant planets, advanced technology, and lessons about the importance of balance and responsibility. He realized that each relic contained knowledge designed to help humans grow, not just power. Zara joined him, feeling the energy of the device. It was as if the sphere responded to their intentions, sharing information only because they had proven themselves trustworthy. Tarek studied the symbols floating around the chamber, recording every detail. The relics were teaching them not only about technology but also about ethics, decision-making, and how to use knowledge wisely. Suddenly, the chamber trembled. A new sound echoed from deeper in the valley, distant but growing closer. Aaron realized that other forces were moving toward the relics. Humans were not the only ones seeking them. They needed to complete the trial and leave before anyone else arrived. The team worked quickly to gather information from the sphere and record what they had learned. Aaron carefully lifted the relic, feeling its energy flow through him. Zara and Tarek secured their tools and notes. Together, they prepared to leave the chamber and face the desert once more. As they stepped outside, the sun was high in the sky, casting long shadows across the valley. The alien guardians moved aside, allowing them safe passage. Aaron looked at his friends. "We have learned much," he said. "But we must remain careful. There are greater challenges ahead, and we cannot underestimate anyone who seeks these relics." Zara smiled, her eyes bright with determination. "We are ready. Whatever comes next, We can face it together. The relics are not just objects, they are lessons. And we will learn every one of them. Tarek nodded, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. Pharaoh Senate left these for a reason. We have been chosen to understand them, to grow, and to use this knowledge wisely. Humanity is ready for this step, and we will take it carefully. The team began their journey back to their camp, carrying the relic carefully and keeping watch for any signs of danger. The desert stretched endlessly around them, golden and quiet, but the wind seemed to whisper of challenges yet to come. Aaron, Zara, and Tarek knew that the trials were far from over. The knowledge of the relics was powerful, and the path ahead required courage, wisdom, and unity. As the sun began to set, casting the desert in warm orange light, the team felt both excitement and responsibility. They had passed the trial, learned from the relic, and proven their worth. The journey of Pharaoh Senate's golden mask and the lost relics was only beginning, and humanity was ready to take its first steps toward a greater future. The sun had risen high over the desert, casting long shadows across the golden sand. Aaron, Zara, and Tarek moved quickly, carrying the relics and keeping a careful watch on their surroundings. The trials they had faced so far had tested their courage, skill, and intelligence. Now, the challenge was different. They had to escape the valley before rival forces discovered the relics. "Stay close and watch every movement," Aaron said, his voice low but firm. "We do not know who might be following us. We have passed the Guardian's tests, but there are others who will not be so careful." Zara nodded, adjusting her pack. "The desert is our ally and our challenge. We can use the terrain to slow them if they come. Sand dunes and rocks will give us cover." Tarek studied the map one last time before folding it carefully. "There is a path through the cliffs. It is narrow, but it leads to the open desert. If we move fast, we can reach it before anyone notices us." The team began their trek, stepping lightly across the soft sand and climbing rocky ridges. Every movement was deliberate, their senses alert for signs of danger. The desert was quiet, but they felt the presence of unseen eyes, watching from a distance. As they reached a small plateau, Aaron noticed unusual patterns in the sand tracks that were too uniform to be natural. He signaled to the others to stop. "We are not alone," he whispered. "Someone or something is following us. We need to use the cliffs ahead to gain an advantage." Zara looked at the terrain and nodded. "If we move quickly, we can force whoever is behind us to take a longer path. That will give us time to escape." The team descended carefully into a narrow canyon, the walls high and steep on either side. The sun reflected off the rocks, creating bright patches and deep shadows. Aaron led the way, guiding them along safe paths. Zara and Tarek followed, keeping the relics secure and scanning the cliffs for any sign of movement. Suddenly, a loud hum filled the air. From above, drones appeared, their metallic surfaces glinting in the sunlight. These were advanced surveillance devices, clearly sent by rivals seeking the relics. The team froze, considering their options. Aaron whispered, "We cannot outrun them in open sand. We must use the canyon. Follow me and stay quiet. Every step counts." They moved quickly but carefully, slipping through narrow passages and using rocks for cover. The drones hovered overhead, scanning the area with bright beams of light. Zara adjusted a small device she had brought, creating a temporary signal to confuse the drones. The beams shifted, missing their targets, giving the team precious seconds to move ahead. Tarek noticed a side path leading up the cliff. "This way," he said. "It is steeper, but it will take us out of the drone's view. We can climb and reach a ridge where the desert opens again." The team followed, climbing carefully. The rocks were rough under their hands, but they moved steadily. At the top, they paused to catch their breath, looking out over the endless desert. The open sands stretched for miles, but the ridge gave them a clear path forward. Zara checked the relics to ensure they were safe. "They are secure," she said. But we need to keep moving. Others may come soon. Aaron nodded. We have learned much, and we have passed the trials. But this is the first time we are tested by those who do not respect the Guardian's rules. We must be ready for anything. As they continued along the ridge, the drones followed briefly but lost their signal as Zara's device created interference. The team pressed on, moving swiftly toward a valley that led to open desert. Each step brought them closer to safety and farther from the valley where the tomb's relics had been hidden for centuries. By late afternoon, they reached a small oasis. Water and shade provided a moment of relief. The team rested briefly, drinking and sharing a quiet meal. The golden mask and the other relics rested safely in their packs, glowing faintly in the sunlight. Aaron looked at his friends with determination. We have made it this far because we worked together and trusted each other. The desert has tested us, the tomb has tested us, and now we have faced those who would take these relics by force. We have proven ourselves worthy. Zara smiled, wiping sweat from her forehead. And we have learned something important. Knowledge is not just power. It is responsibility. If we use it wisely, we can protect it and help humanity grow. Tarek nodded, looking out over the desert. Pharaoh Senate left these relics for a reason. We have been chosen to understand them, to carry this knowledge forward. But the journey is not over. There are more trials, more discoveries, and more challenges ahead. As the sun began to set, casting the desert in shades of gold and red, the team packed up and prepared to continue. The wind whispered across the sands, carrying the promise of new adventures and hidden dangers. Aaron, Zara, and Tarek moved forward with determination, ready to face whatever came next. They had survived the tomb, learned from the relics, and escaped the desert's dangers. The golden mask and the lost relics were safe in their hands, but their journey was only beginning. The knowledge they had gained would guide humanity toward a future among the stars, and they were ready to lead the way. The desert night was calm, and the stars above seemed to shine brighter than ever. Aaron, Zara, and Tarek sat around their small campfire, the golden mask safely packed in a special case. The team could feel the weight of responsibility that came with their discovery. They had passed the first trial, but the relics still held mysteries that needed to be understood. "This mask is incredible," Zara said, her eyes reflecting the firelight. "The energy we felt in the tomb, it is more than anything humans have seen before. If we study it carefully, it could teach us so much." Aaron nodded, staring into the flames. "Yes, but we also need to be careful. We have passed the Guardian's test, but there may be other trials ahead. The tomb is only the beginning. I can feel that the relics are part of something much larger." Tarek leaned back, looking at the stars. "I think Pharaoh Senate wanted someone to prove themselves before accessing these relics. That trial was not just about skill. It was about courage, wisdom, and how we choose to use knowledge." The next morning, the team continued deeper into the desert. The map led them to a valley surrounded by rocky cliffs. Strange symbols were carved into the rocks, glowing faintly in the sunlight. Aaron studied them carefully, tracing patterns with his finger. "These markings are guiding us to the next relic," he said. "We must follow them exactly." As they entered the valley, a low hum filled the air. The ground beneath their feet vibrated slightly. From the shadows, alien figures appeared again, but this time they did not block the path. Instead, they gestured toward a hidden entrance in the cliffs. The team understood that this was the next challenge, another trial to prove humanity's readiness. The entrance led to a large chamber filled with glowing devices and floating panels. Symbols shifted in the air, creating puzzles that required intelligence, precision, and teamwork. Aaron stepped forward first, studying a panel that displayed a shifting maze of light. He carefully traced the correct path, using clues from the tomb and his knowledge of the map. The maze shifted around him, but he stayed focused, reaching the center where a small glowing orb floated. Zara faced a complex device next. Beams of light crisscrossed the room, and she needed to align mirrors and lenses to form a specific pattern. She worked quickly and skillfully, adjusting the angles until the light created a symbol that opened a hidden passage. Her hands moved confidently, guided by experience and intuition. Tarek approached the final panel, which asked questions that tested his character. Each choice influenced the chamber in subtle ways. He considered the consequences carefully, choosing paths that valued wisdom, courage, and responsibility. The panels glowed, confirming his decisions, and a door opened to a central chamber. Inside, the team saw the next relic, a small, glowing device shaped like a sphere. It hovered in the center of the room, radiating energy. The aliens watched silently, allowing the humans to approach. Aaron reached out and touched the sphere. Instantly, visions filled his mind, distant planets, advanced technology, and lessons about the importance of balance and responsibility. He realized that each relic contained knowledge designed to help humans grow, not just power. Zara joined him, feeling the energy of the device. It was as if the sphere responded to their intentions, sharing information only because they had proven themselves trustworthy. Tarek studied the symbols floating around the chamber, recording every detail. The relics were teaching them not only about technology but also about ethics, decision-making, and how to use knowledge wisely. Suddenly, the chamber trembled. A new sound echoed from deeper in the valley, distant but growing closer. Aaron realized that other forces were moving toward the relics. Humans were not the only ones seeking them. They needed to complete the trial and leave before anyone else arrived. The team worked quickly to gather information from the sphere and record what they had learned. Aaron carefully lifted the relic, feeling its energy flow through him. Zara and Tarek secured their tools and notes. Together, they prepared to leave the chamber and face the desert once more. As they stepped outside, the sun was high in the sky, casting long shadows across the valley. The alien guardians moved aside, allowing them safe passage. Aaron looked at his friends. "We have learned much," he said. "But we must remain careful. There are greater challenges ahead, and we cannot underestimate anyone who seeks these relics." Zara smiled, her eyes bright with determination. "We are ready. Whatever comes next, we can face it together. The relics are not just objects, they are lessons. And we will learn every one of them." Tarek nodded, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. "Pharaoh Senate left these for a reason. We have been chosen to understand them, to grow, and to use this knowledge wisely. Humanity is ready for this step, and we will take it carefully." The team began their journey back to their camp, carrying the relic carefully and keeping watch for any signs of danger. The desert stretched endlessly around them, golden and quiet, but the wind seemed to whisper of challenges yet to come. Aaron, Zara, and Tarek knew that the trials were far from over. The knowledge of the relics was powerful, and the path ahead required courage, wisdom, and unity. As the sun began to set, casting the desert in warm orange light, the team felt both excitement and responsibility. They had passed the trial, learned from the relic, and proven their worth. The journey of Pharaoh Senate's golden mask and the lost relics was only beginning, and humanity was ready to take its first steps toward a greater future. The sun rose over the desert, casting long golden light across the sand. Aaron, Zara, and Tarek had traveled far from the tomb, carrying the golden mask and other relics safely. Their journey had tested them in ways they could never have imagined. They had faced puzzles, trials, alien guardians, and rival forces, yet they had proven their courage, intelligence, and responsibility. Now, they returned to Earth to share what they had learned. The team arrived at a hidden research facility, a place far from cities and prying eyes. Scientists and scholars had gathered, waiting to study the relics under controlled conditions. Aaron carefully placed the golden mask on a special platform. Its surface shimmered, reflecting the light like molten gold. The energy it emitted filled the room, and everyone could feel the importance of the moment. "This mask is more than an artifact," Aaron said. "It is a link to knowledge beyond our time. It can teach us about energy, technology, and even the ways civilizations can grow responsibly. We must study it carefully and respect its power." Zara and Tarek joined him, sharing their observations and notes. They explained the trials in the tomb and the lessons the relics had shared. The scientists listened intently, amazed by the story of the Guardians and the challenges the team had overcome. One of the lead researchers, Dr. Hani, spoke up. "This is a discovery that could change humanity. Not just our history, but our future. We can learn from the relics how to improve technology, energy use, and even explore space in ways we never imagined." Aaron nodded. "Yes, but we must remember that knowledge comes with responsibility. Pharaoh Senate left these relics for a reason. He wanted those who were worthy to use them wisely. We cannot rush. We must learn and grow carefully." Over the following weeks, the team worked tirelessly. They studied the golden mask, recording every detail, every symbol, and every energy pattern. The relics revealed secrets of long-lost technology, ways to generate energy efficiently, and techniques for navigation beyond Earth. Slowly, humanity began to understand that Pharaoh Senate had not only created these relics to preserve knowledge but to prepare future generations for challenges among the stars. Meanwhile, Aaron, Zara, and Tarek shared stories of their journey. They spoke of the desert, the tomb, the alien guardians, and the trials they had faced. People listened in awe, inspired by human courage and intelligence. The team's determination and teamwork became a symbol of humanity's potential. One evening, as the sun set over the horizon, casting warm light across the facility, Aaron, Zara, and Tarek stood together near the golden mask. "We have learned much," Aaron said quietly. "But the journey is not finished. There are still secrets to uncover, and more relics may be out there. Humanity has taken the first step, and now it is up to us to continue with care and wisdom." Zara smiled. "We have proven that humans can face challenges, learn from them, and grow. The mask and relics are proof that we are capable of greatness. The future is ours to shape." Tarek nodded, his eyes reflecting determination. "Pharaoh Senate trusted us with this knowledge, and we have honored that trust. Humanity is ready to step into a larger world, and we must continue to explore, discover, and protect what we have learned." As night fell, the desert wind whispered softly outside the facility. The stars shone brightly, reminding the team of the vast universe beyond their planet. Aaron looked up and felt a sense of awe and responsibility. The golden mask was not only a relic of the past but a guide for the future. Humanity had been tested and had proven itself ready to take the next steps among the stars. The team realized that their journey had changed them. They were no longer just explorers or scientists, they were guardians of knowledge. They had learned that courage, wisdom, and teamwork could overcome the greatest challenges. And with the relics now safe and studied, humanity had begun a path toward a future full of promise and discovery. The golden mask rested quietly on its platform, glowing softly as if acknowledging the human success. Outside, the world moved on, unaware of the incredible journey that had taken place in the desert. But for Aaron, Zara, and Tarek, the adventure had only strengthened their belief in human potential. They knew that one day, humans would explore beyond their planet, guided by the knowledge and lessons of the past. Together, they watched the stars, feeling hope, pride, and determination. The trials were over, the relics were safe, and humanity had taken its first step toward greatness. Pharaoh Senate's legacy would live on, and the knowledge he had preserved would help guide humans into a future where courage, intelligence, and responsibility would shape the destiny of their species. The story of the Golden Mask and the lost relics ended for now, but it marked the beginning of a new chapter for humanity. One where humans could reach for the stars, learn from ancient wisdom, and prove that they were ready to meet the challenges of the universe.